First time you use Visual Studio to develop with AX, you will need to complete some basic configuration. In this lesson, we'll look at some settings to configure before we can begin using Visual Studio. First, let's take a quick look at some of the system requirements for using Visual Studio to develop with AX. The first thing to note is it can be hosted locally or in the cloud using Microsoft Azure. Secondly, a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM is recommended along with 2 CPU cores for a smooth development environment. However, the more RAM and CPU cores you have will translate into faster compile times. There are a few settings we want to configure in Microsoft Visual Studio that'll make the development experience with AX a little smoother. The first option we want to set is to organize projects by element type. To do this, we'll go to the Dynamics AX menu and we'll choose Options. In the left navigation pane, under the Dynamics AX group, we want to expand that and choose Projects. The first checkbox says Organize Projects by Element Type. We want to make sure this is checked so that when we create projects and we add elements, they're organized and easier to find. The next setting from the same options is in the text editor group. So we'll expand this and we'll go to all languages. We want to make sure the line numbers checkbox is enabled so that in our text and code editors we can see the line numbers. This makes it easier for development and debugging. The next setting is in the IntelliTrace group. So we'll click the root node on the IntelliTrace group and we'll uncheck this Enable IntelliTrace option. We do not want this enabled because it is not supported with X++ debugging, and it could cause performance issues. So we'll uncheck this and choose OK, and then we'll restart Visual Studio to make sure our changes are taking effect.